Do you find yourself staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., wondering why you just can't sleep anymore? It's not your age, it's your habits. Before diving into the 5 habits that sabotage rest, there's something more pressing and unspoken truth. Sleep isn't a luxury. It's not just about energy. It's about healing. Every night without rest leaves the mind foggy, the emotions fragile, the body slower to mend. It becomes harder to find joy, to stay present, to remember names, stories, reasons. And still, people tell themselves it's natural, that it's age, that nothing can be done. But they are wrong. There's a reason the mind remains alert at midnight. A reason the chest tightens as the lights go out. And often that reason began hours earlier, well before the pillow touched their head. The problem is never random. It starts with what they do routinely, unconsciously, as day turns to night. And now it's time to bring those habits into the light. Habit number 1: screen time before bed. After retirement, there's this strange quiet that sneaks in. The rush is gone. The alarms stop. Time loosens. First, it feels like freedom. No meetings, no deadlines, just wide open hours. And late at night, when the world is asleep, there's finally space to breathe. That's when the screen starts calling. It begins harmlessly. One video becomes another. Maybe a memory pops up on social media. A picture from years ago. A comment from someone you haven't spoken to since the funeral. The glow of the phone feels warm, familiar, like company. But while the heart finds comfort in that soft, digital light, the mind starts to wake up. And it doesn't stop. You see, every time that screen lights up, your brain gets a signal: stay alert. Don't wind down yet. Blue light pours in and scrambles the body's natural rhythm. The hormone meant to bring rest, melatonin, gets held back, confused. Your eyes might be tired, but the brain is tricked into thinking it's still daytime. And it's not just the light. It's what you're feeding the mind. A news headline here, a sad story there. Scrolling past strangers who seem to be doing fine while you sit in the dark, trying to feel anything but alone. It's stimulation. Endless, quiet stimulation. And your nervous system, it's on edge, still spinning when your body's begging to stop. But here's the quiet truth. The mind wants rhythm, craves cues that say, now we rest. And the screen, night after night, steals that message. You don't need to throw away the phone or banish technology. That's not what this is about. It's about what happens in the hour before sleep. That small window where you trade noise for calm, motion for stillness. Imagine this instead. A lamp. Not bright, just warm. A pen and a notebook by your bed. Maybe you write down one thing you're grateful for. Or you open an old book, not to finish, just to feel the page turn. Soft music hums in the background. Nothing with lyrics, just sound that feels like a breath. You sip something warm. The lights dim. And the phone? It rests in the drawer. Out of sight, out of reach, out of mind. This isn't about rules. It's about reclaiming quiet. That sacred pause before you drift. You deserve that pause. So, have you ever tried putting the screen away before bed? Just once. 1 hour before. What did it feel like? Did your dreams change? Did your body thank you? Tell me in the comments what helped you most. What does your version of peace look like at night? Habit number 2, eating too late. No familiar clatter of dishes or hum of conversation. Just silence. So dinner kept drifting later. First to 7, then 8, until eventually it became a quiet ritual at 9, sometimes closer to 10. Whatever was in the fridge went onto the plate. Sometimes comfort food. Sometimes whatever required the least effort. But no matter what it was, sleep always felt harder afterward. What they didn't realize was the body wasn't meant to go to bed full. Especially not after 60. Digestion slows down just like everything else. And when food lingers in the stomach late at night, it doesn't just sit quietly. It stirs. Acid creeps up, the chest tightens, and lying down becomes a negotiation between discomfort and fatigue. Restlessness follows. And even if sleep comes, it doesn't stay. It's not just about the time, it's about what's on the plate. Sugar spikes blood sugar and crashes it an hour later. Spicy meals might bring flavor, but they also bring heat and heartburn. Fatty foods? They sit heavy, asking the stomach to work overtime when it should be resting. And caffeine, hidden in dark chocolate or that evening tea, lingers far longer than most people think. But here's the shift. Food can be a pathway to rest, too, if chosen with care. Picture this. A small bowl of warm oatmeal, not for breakfast, but for winding down. A handful of almonds, rich in magnesium, easing tension from within. Or a few tart cherries, their natural melatonin quietly nudging the body towards stillness. Even a simple cup of herbal tea, chamomile, lemon balm, valerian root, sipped slowly under dim light. It's not about going to bed hungry. It's about giving the body space to settle. A pause between nourishment and rest. 2 to 3 hours. That's all it takes. A window to let digestion finish its work before the mind drifts into sleep. And in that window, something else happens too. You begin to listen, to notice how your body responds, how it thanks you for the lighter meal, for the gentler choices, for finally being heard. So tell me, what's your go-to light dinner? A soup that calms you? A tea that feels like an exhale? What's your version of edible comfort? Share it in the comments. Someone out there might be looking for a new ritual, and your favorite meal might just help them find it. Habit number 3, lack of routine. After the farewell party, the first few mornings felt like vacation. No alarm clock, no commute, no emails waiting, just open space. At first, it felt like a reward, freedom earned after decades of discipline. But then the lines began to blur. Breakfast sometimes happened at noon. Laundry sat in the basket for days. And bedtime, that stopped being a time at all. Some nights, sleep came at 3 in the morning. Other nights, lights were out by 7. There was no pattern. Just drifting through the hours, untethered, like a boat without an anchor. What they didn't know was that the body was keeping score. Inside, a clock was still ticking, one that doesn't retire. The circadian rhythm, that quiet, invisible system that governs everything from hormones to mood. And when bedtime changes with the wind, that rhythm stumbles. Melatonin, the sleep hormone, doesn't know when to arrive. Cortisol, the alert hormone, starts showing up at the wrong time, and sleep becomes unpredictable, shallow, fragmented. But the rhythm can be restored. It just needs consistency. It starts small, waking up at the same time even on weekends, going to bed at a familiar hour even when you're not sleepy yet. Because consistency is a signal, a gentle reminder to the brain, this is when we rest. Then comes the ritual. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Maybe it's dimming the lights around the house an hour before bed, a lamp instead of overhead bulbs. Maybe it's lighting a candle with a familiar scent, lavender, eucalyptus, something that whispers calm, or playing a soft playlist, instrumental, low, steady. Some begin journaling, not to solve anything but to clear the clutter. Others sip a warm drink or stretch slowly in the quiet. Even something as simple as washing your face with intention. The action doesn't matter as much as the signal it sends. It's time to let go. And if sleep still feels slippery, there are tools. A sleep journal to track patterns, triggers, and dreams. A bedtime alarm not to rush you but to guide you gently toward rest. Small steps, familiar steps, repeated nightly. Because the truth is, the body craves rhythm more than freedom. So, what's one ritual that brings you calm before bed? A book you return to? A scent that softens your breath? Share it. Speak it into the space below. You never know who else needs a rhythm too. Habit number 4, overthinking and emotional clutter. At night, everything felt louder. The house was still, but the mind was a different story. Things that stayed quiet all day. The regret over words never said. The memory of the last fight. The ache of someone now gone. They waited for the darkness. And once the lights were off, they spoke. Not in whispers, in roars. Every mistake replayed. Every what-if returned. And sleep? It stood at the edge, waiting for silence that never came. What they didn't realize was that this wasn't just emotion, it was chemistry. The brain, overwhelmed with worry and unresolved tension, released cortisol, the very hormone meant to keep the body alert. So instead of drifting, the body braced. Muscles stayed tight. The heart picked up its pace. And the quiet hour became anything but peaceful. But the answer wasn't to suppress it. The mind doesn't want silence, it wants release. There's a difference. Sometimes that release starts with something as simple as paper. A pen. A notebook by the bed, not for perfect writing or deep insight, but for unloading. A place to put the weight down before trying to rest. Just a few words. Today, I felt, I wish I had. Tonight, I'm letting go of, not to solve anything. Just to name it. Because naming it softens it. And over time, that habit, those few minutes of quiet honesty, become a path toward rest. Others find peace through affirmations. Words that counter the chaos. Simple, steady phrases whispered like a lullaby. I did what I could today. I am allowed to rest. I release what I cannot change. At first, they feel like pretending. But over time, the mind begins to believe them. And belief brings calm. And sometimes the stories we carry are too heavy for one journal or one quiet hour. Sometimes the thoughts need a listener. That's where therapy steps in. Or a support group. Or even a trusted voice that doesn't try to fix it, just hears it. Because there's strength in saying, this is too much to carry alone. And maybe that's where peace begins. Not in forgetting, but in being held. So, do you journal at night? Have you found a phrase, a practice, a moment that helps quiet your thoughts? Write it below. Someone else may need that same light in their dark. Habit number 5. Ignoring physical signals. They brushed it off at first. The ache in the lower back. The pinch behind the shoulder. That stiffness in the knees every time they turned in bed. It was easy to ignore. After all, pain had become part of the background noise, a quiet hum that played through the day. But at night, when everything else quieted down, the body finally spoke louder. And it didn't whisper. Some nights it was the hips, others the neck, but the result was the same, waking up 3, 4, sometimes 5 times. Shifting, adjusting, hoping the right angle would bring relief. But it never lasted. Because the problem wasn't just pain. It was being disconnected from what the body had been trying to say all along. The body after 60 has new needs. The spine craves support. Joints need space. And muscles, they demand softness. Yet the mattress remained the same one bought 15 years ago. The pillow had long lost its shape. And still they told themselves, it's fine. It's just aging. But discomfort is not something to endure. It's something to understand. For some, the solution is as simple as a new pillow, one that supports the neck instead of letting it collapse. For others, it's the mattress, firm enough to align the spine, soft enough to cradle pressure points. Even small adjustments, a pillow between the knees, a slight incline for the back, can change the way the night feels. Then there's movement, gentle, intentional stretching before bed. Not a workout, just a few minutes. Loosening the hips, releasing the lower back. Opening the chest with slow, deliberate breath. These stretches are quiet invitations to the nervous system. You can let go now. And we can't forget the bladder. That quiet saboteur of sleep. The trick? Start reducing liquids an hour or 2 before bed. Make the last glass of water part of your evening wind down, not the final thing you do. It seems small, but the body notices. Sleep aids? They can help, but they must be used with wisdom. Natural solutions. Magnesium, herbal teas, weighted blankets can support the process without overpowering it. Because true rest doesn't come from forcing sleep, it comes from removing the things that interrupt it. So here's a question. What's your number 1 comfort at bedtime? Is it a favorite pillow that knows the curve of your neck? A soft blanket you've had for years? A scent that calms the breath? Share it below. That one small comfort could become someone else's peace tonight. Before the day slips completely into night, let's bring it all together. Imagine a checklist, not a to-do list filled with stress, but a gentle reminder of the things that bring your body and mind closer to peace. A nightly rhythm you can return to again and again. Nothing rigid, nothing overwhelming, Just a few mindful choices stacked gently like stepping stones toward deeper rest. First, the light. By 9 p.m., the screens are off. The phone is tucked away, not just silenced, but out of sight. Because what the eyes see, the mind follows. And tonight, the mind is being guided toward stillness. Dinner? That happened hours ago. No heavy meals weighing the body down. No sugar stirring restlessness. Just nourishment. Complete. Digested. Done by 7 p.m. Now the pause. A pen and paper, ready for just a few thoughts. A breath. A moment of stillness. Maybe a journal entry. Maybe just one sentence whispered inward. I release the day. Then the rhythm. Bedtime is no longer a mystery. It has a name, a shape, a time. Whether it's 10 or 10:30, it comes with familiar rituals. A routine the body recognizes and welcomes like an old friend. Music hums softly, not to entertain but to ease. The kind of sound that makes your shoulders drop without you realizing. No words, just peace. And movement, just a little. Light stretching. No pressure. No performance. Just the body slowly saying thank you. The hips loosening. The spine unwinding. The breath lengthening. If the thoughts still linger, there's a warm cup nearby. Herbal tea, chamomile, maybe lemon balm. Something gentle. Something grounding. Something that says you're safe now. You've done enough. It's time to rest. And just like that, the night shifts. If you'd like this checklist to print, to keep by your bedside, or to share with someone you love, there's a link waiting in the description. It's yours. Quiet. Simple. Easy to return to whenever the world feels loud. Because peace isn't a luxury. It's a practice. And you're allowed to make room for it. Want this checklist? It's waiting for you just below. They didn't think sleep could change. Not after years of tossing, turning, waking up more tired than when they went to bed. They figured that was just how things would be now, that rest was something they'd traded for time, that deep sleep belonged to younger years. But tonight, something feels different. It's not just the silence. It's what the silence holds. Less tension. Less noise in the mind. A slower heart. A calmer breath. And a sense, maybe for the first time in a long time, that rest is still possible. Because it is. Even after 60. Even after heartbreak or divorce or a life that's changed shape a dozen times. Sleep isn't just about closing your eyes. It's about trusting that tomorrow will come and letting yourself soften into it. And the truth is, you deserve that softness. You've carried so much for so long, and now finally you're allowed to rest. So whatever your story, whether you're beginning again after retirement, learning to love yourself after years of being overlooked, or simply trying to feel safe in your own skin, you are not alone. You're not just learning to sleep, you're learning to heal. And that healing begins the moment you stop expecting your body to push through and start allowing it to feel held. Held by routine, held by ritual, held by the quiet things that tell you you're safe now. If no one told you today, you're doing beautifully, and it's okay to rest. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to fix everything first. You just have to say yes to peace. So, if this video brought you a breath of comfort, a small light in the dark, go ahead and like it. Subscribe if you'd like more moments like this. Share it with someone who's walking a similar path. And tell us in the comments. What's one small habit you'll try changing this week? Even if it's just putting the phone down a little earlier. It counts.